All right, everyone, we are here with a very, very special guest. We are joined by Danielle Fishel. Yay!
We're so excited to have you in person. Really, we planned this trip to LA around going to the show last night. We were like, we get to go. We're so excited. And for weeks, we've been like, we want to get some guests on from the show. It's our favorite thing to talk about. And so selfishly, after you were sent home, we were like, oh, but I hope this means she could come on the
She'll have time. Danielle's calendar is just wide open now.
Be at rehearsal. She could come on
Doesn't
Six
have
Rehearsals.
No OTFs.
The rehearsal schedule is crazy. I know we'll jump right into it, but just the schedule that you guys are on, I don't think people realize quite how intense it is. What was your kind of week like on the show?
So when you first start the show and you have those first 3 weeks to prep before that first live episode, they say to you, every 7 days you have a mandatory day off. And I was like, oh, God, so annoying. I don't want that day off. Like, I want to be in there. And I was thinking like, all right, well, every 7 days you get a day off. And so that'll be fun. I'll just plan something with my kids. That goes away the second that first live show happens. From that point on, it is 7 days a week. Yeah. A minimum of 4 hours of that is dance rehearsal time. And then eventually it becomes about 6 hours of dance rehearsal time. And then if you're not feeling like you're getting enough, like that's enough, you go to an outside studio and you rehearse more. And then you have wardrobe fittings, which are about 30 to 45 minutes. You have at least 2 of those a week. And then you'll have like a hair and makeup conversation. Right. Those are 15 minutes a week. You have a creative meeting, which is about 15 to 20 minutes a week. And then you have your OTF interviews, which are about 2 hours. Right. And then you have your master interview, which is an hour. And then you have press, and it's an hour to drive there and an hour to drive home. And so literally from like the time you wake up, and then taking care of your body, stretching, compression. I was doing hyperbaric oxygen. I was like in all this treatment stuff that's like a minimum of an hour to your day, sometimes 2 if you're nursing an injury, and your entire, and then I was like counting in my sleep. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, oh my gosh, is there ever a break from this?
Yeah, you're never actually sleeping. And on top of that, when you're taking care of your body, it's not even really relaxing because you're like, oh, this is another hour or 2 hours where I'm sitting through this. It's never like, oh, I'm just sitting on the couch and getting my rest in. That's not happening. You guys all work so incredibly hard. And we're so thankful that especially this season, we've seen so much behind the scenes, more so than ever. I think it's started ramping up in recent years, but this time around, we're seeing so many TikToks. We're getting really a closer look, and you filling us in on that schedule is so awesome because I feel like Fran said, people don't even realize how much time you have. Now, I want to ask, because you mentioned that if you don't feel like you're getting it, you can go to an outside studio. Yeah, and
they don't love that. They're not they're not telling you to do that.
I want to ask more about that because sometimes I'll see, oh, I went to this studio and I worked extra hard. What are the rules about doing that?
Well, they can't control our outside time. When, like we talked about those first 3 weeks, they do tell you when you agree to do the show that they're pretty hard and fast about you taking that day off every 7 days. And they said, because for most people, they're coming into this with no training. If you start working out for 21 days straight, you're going to give yourself an injury. You're going to mentally burn out. And so like, we just really tell you, like, highly encourage that day off. After that, they recognize that people want to go out there and show their best self and show their best work. And so they won't give you studio time. They'll say like, we will give you 4 or 5 hours. What you do on your outside time is up to you. And it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell policy.
Because I mean, you could be in your own house just practicing as much as you want. Really, what's the difference between doing it there and there are more mirrors in a studio? But
correct. And so you can rent your own space. If you wanted to, you could go to your pro's house. For some of the people who are here from out of town, they're staying at a hotel that has a gym, so they work out they'll just do it at the gym at their hotel at random hours.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is your pro allowed to be a part of this?
Again, they They don't.
yeah.
They
just- yeah.
It's up to you how you
Right.
want to manage your time, how hard you want to work.
Yeah.
Which is very cool and also leaves a lot of room to just become super annoying at the same time. Like you could just like call Posh up and be like, listen,
Hi, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing right now?
Tell Kiki she doesn't have a daddy for the next few weeks. Like, no, I know. And that's the other thing is that even just thinking as far as like age playing such a factor in this, not just because of your stamina and your physical health, but like what other responsibilities do you have in your life and how much are you able to put those on the back burner for 3 months versus like my children, literally my son thought I died. He was like, well, it feels like it.
Well, we saw this story.
Yes.
And I feel like and it's funny because you hear that story and then it went crazy viral. Of course, everyone picked that up. Every outlet picked that up. It's like Danielle Fishel's son tells
Including
teacher,
us.
tells teacher his mom is dead, and you see that and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But I'd love to. I mean, get this kid in acting. That's
He is.
phenomenal.
He's in an acting
theatrics.
class on Fridays. But you know what's funny is that for one thing, it was so emotional because he had put on a really brave face.
Yeah.
There were no signs that he was struggling up until that point. And then at school, when he was having some trouble that day and he told his teacher, well, my mom died. And she was like, I have not heard anything about this.
And your mom dancing every week.
I think I would know if that were true.
Would be big news.
And so when I picked him up that day, which I hadn't been able to pick him up for weeks, but I had like a 9-to-1 rehearsal, and it was like, he literally burst into tears in the car. I want you to quit this job. All you do is dance, 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 dance. You never have time to hang out with me and Keaton anymore. Yeah. And I was like, wow. I said, you've been feeling this way for a while.
Yeah,
yes,
like
I felt this way all the time. I just haven't told you. And I said,
You're an absent mother.
Yeah. I was like, is this why you told your teacher I died? Yes, it feels like it. And I was like, what could be more honest than like, he's just telling me
And
that.
he's 6.
He's 6.
That's
Wow.
So
a lot of emotions for a 6-year-old.
A lot of emotions. And I
Yeah.
told him, I said, thank you so much for telling me because I have obviously not been doing a good enough job connecting with you when I have been able to see you. When I have been able to see you, it hasn't felt like good quality time, and that's on me. And part of the reason apparently I've been doing that is I had no signs. I didn't know you were feeling this way. So thank you for being honest with me. And I need to know that. So we, since then have spent better quality time together. And then he was absolutely thrilled when I was eliminated. Just the happiest children you could have ever imagined.
He was probably stealing your husband's phone.
Listen,
texting
he
Andy
was
at
texting
21523.
Andy 21523 10 times from multiple devices.
He pulled out the laptop.
ABC.com.
Yeah,
he knows how to
the websites.
100%. Yeah.
He was like, it's time. It's time.
It's
for
time.
him to come
Yeah.
home.
We watched the episode with Elaine where Elaine went in an ambulance the morning after he wanted to watch it, and just with absolutely no emotion, he said, I wish that would happen to you.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
went, what part do you wish? He goes, I wish you had an injury and had to go in an ambulance so that you couldn't dance anymore and they just bring you home to me. And I was
my
like,
God.
You're like, that's
so
You're like,
cute,
oh
you
my-
little psycho.
Right.
I
raised you?
Wow, that is quite the thought. I mean, at least you love your mom.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know. Like,
No.
Right.
He doesn't know. In his mind, the
he's
ambulance
6 years old.
brings me home
Yeah,
to him.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
He's 6
can't
years
dance
old.
anymore. Come back. Also, it was cute.
He's like, no, she's going to the hospital. It's like, no, she could just be
she'll
going home.
just come home.
Yeah.
Just come home. That's fine.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute, and like you said,
Psycho.
at the
Little
same
psycho,
time. But
which,
he's
by the way,
6 years old.
I'm also
and you
cute and
love
psycho.
It. Exactly. He's got to come from somebody.
Your 4-year-old was just like along for the ride.
My 4-year-old has no problems with anything ever. He is just like, who's watching me? Is it Miss? Our nanny is named Delia. We call her Miss Delia, but they also call her Yaya. And so he'll be like, I'm going to stay with Yaya. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
I'm going to be with Daddy. Okay, bye. He just wants to know, like, is there an adult?
Yeah.
Present? Yeah.
Great.
I'm being watched. Cool.
Cool.
Being fed.
Someone's around.
Games.
Someone's around. I'm
The
going to
whole
be
thing.
fine. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, balancing all of this is so hard because you're a mom, you're working on top of working. You also Dancing with the Stars, double the work. Like that is so much to handle. You're recording your podcast.
I added a new podcast for the
podcast. You decided, I'm not just going to do one podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to add another podcast
Yeah.
on top of that.
Yeah.
How was balancing the podcast? And of course, your co-hosts were riding hard for you.
Oh my gosh, are they not the sweet, like the two
best.
kind of best friends that just make you go, if that's not like if I don't have friendships like that, I don't need them. They're just the greatest. It was a lot. It was a lot to balance because I was doing Danielle with immediately after the live show. So our live shows, my usual car pickup time would be 6:30 in the morning. I'd get up around 4 so that I had time to make the kids lunches and get myself together. And then car would pick me up about 6:30, get there about 7:30, into hair and makeup, then camera blocking, then from camera blocking back to hair and makeup, then into wardrobe, then dress rehearsal, then from dress rehearsal, friends and family arrive. You have about 15 minutes to say hi to them. Then you start getting warm again. Like you also forget, you don't just like walk out there and dance.
Yeah.
You have to have your blood pumping. You have to go over your steps. You have to be in the right frame of mind. So that takes like a good 30 minutes minimum right before the live show. And then you've got your bumpers, we're standing in front of the camera. And so all of that requires timing.
Yep.
And then you do the live show from 5 to 7. Then there's a press line for an hour and a half after. And then I would always be starving because no matter how much I try to eat during the day, there's really not that much time to get like a solid meal in. So we're starving. So then I'd go eat. And then at like 10 p.m. I'd start my podcast. And I've been up since 4.
Crazy.
Do the podcast, then drive home, and your adrenaline is through the roof.
Right.
I'm never asleep before 1 a.m. and never once on the entire time of day of doing Dancing with the Stars did I ever not get up at my normal 5:30 time. There was never a day that I was like, I'm just not going to see the kids, because then that would mean I'm not going to see the kids. Yeah. So I would, every 7 days a week, my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning, and I would be up, and whether I went to bed at 1 or 2, that's
the come down is probably insane. You have all the adrenaline rushing from dancing, getting the applause, then you see what people are saying online, right? Because you want to know how do people react after the show. There's so much to take in, so much energy to take in from every which angle. And you're doing the podcast after, even though you loved it and we learned a lot. Did you regret signing up yourself to do the podcast after the live show?
No. Being able to talk it all out.
Yeah.
Like being able to talk it all out and like get all, it was actually helpful in part of the come down process because it was like, okay, I have all of these thoughts in my head and I want to put them all somewhere, and so that was kind of helpful. I think, and then also being able to interview people, like there's no part of it I regret. But what I will say is that doing 2 podcasts that you do 2 days a week is now like 4 podcasts a week is a lot. And then I also try to listen to all of them and make edits on all of them. So that's time. And then I was trying to listen to Pod Meets Twirled, which I eventually had to give up even trying to listen to or make edits on that because I was like, I can't. I can't. And they're just great.
A lot of consuming yourself.
Yes.
What was that like for you? You're having to watch yourself constantly, listen to yourself constantly, and we can all be such harsh critics on ourselves. Then you're also receiving criticism from judges online. How did you kind of filter through that?
Well, for one thing, I listen to the podcasts on 2 times speed. So
that helps.
and then if I just go, it's like, ooh, I can cut that.
I wasn't. That's a long on. It's
that's a
2
long
times
in a 2 times. We can cut it. So I wasn't going through it with a fine tooth comb. I was also trying to really like listening to my podcasts back and editing them is very rarely about censoring myself or about changing something. It's more about just making sure the product itself is
cleaning it up.
It's just cleaning it. Yeah. So I do it real fast. The criticism online, what I'll for one thing say is that I am not sure there are many people who have as much positive, like when I read comments about myself, so much of it is so positive.
That's so lovely.
It's amazing.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
And so of course, it doesn't mean that then when there is one, like one night I made a real bad decision of going onto Reddit.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, Danielle.
Like, there was
Bad
one
call.
day I went on Reddit and it was so positive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. Look at these Reddit. Everyone says Reddit's the worst. And
Yeah.
look at this.
I'm their champion.
I have beat Reddit.
and then you go back and there's a thread and they tear you down.
And you're just like, what happened? And I did that one night at like 1 a.m. And I had gone into Reddit feeling real good because I think I had been on Instagram, which
Yeah.
for whatever reason that night was very positive. And then Reddit really took me down a notch. And, but you know, truthfully, learning to quiet internet noise is something I have truly gotten better at with age and with the more I'm out there. You know, like having not been in the public, I mean, I'm still in the public eye because of the podcast and stuff, but like I haven't been a performer
Right.
for over a decade. The more removed you get from it, the harder it becomes to put yourself back out there because you're like, ooh, I forgot what this feels like. Now that I've been out there quite a bit more in the last few years, you develop a certain amount of callus. Like there's some calluses and things just have a tendency to kind of bounce off those calluses a little bit more.
Sometimes when a lot is coming in, it's easiest to ignore it because you're like, I don't even have the time
Yes.
to look at all this.
Exactly. A friend of mine described it once in a really smart way that just kind of stuck with me. He was like, if you're looking at something and it's black and white and then there's a really bright spot of hot pink, you're like, oh gosh, that's so offensive. Look at that bright hot pink. He's like, but when everything's hot pink, it's just like, it's all hot pink. And it's kind of the same way. Like even if it's negative or positive, if it's like a big onslaught of one or the other, it's a little easier to just be like, I'm going to treat this like I have the flu. I have a flu for a couple of weeks. I'm going to
Close it up.
dip under a rock.
It passes.
Yeah, it'll pass.
It all goes
I'll
in
feel
waves.
better eventually. And that's it.
When did you get the idea to do the podcast, even to do Danielle with? Like, was it after you got cast on the show? Is it like, was it in tandem with it?
It was right pretty much when I said yes to the show.
Okay.
I said yes to the show. And at the time, Dancing with the Stars didn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they were doing a podcast. Had I known,
You were like,
had
I
they
am
told me, they
jumping
may
on
have
this.
told me not to do the podcast.
Right.
But I didn't know. And I
Yeah.
was just like, they don't have a Dancing with the Stars podcast. And I already have a podcast. And like, you know that so much of the importance of Dancing with the Stars is fan votes. And it's like, this is my medium to connect with people who are already tuning in because they are a fan of something, of other work I've done.
Yep.
Maybe they would be a fan of this work and maybe not. Maybe they won't want to listen at all, but it's a direct connection to people who might.
Yeah.
And so I should use this medium to bring people along on the journey with me. And it felt like it would just feel like a missed opportunity to ignore that.
So what did you think when you saw Joey's hosted a Dancing with the Stars official podcast?
I mean, I was like, I actually, when we were in New York for for Good Morning America, they had us doing, actually it wasn't New York. It was when we did our promos. One of the things we had to do was, and stay tuned for the Dancing with the Stars podcast. And I remember being like, okay, Dancing with the Stars podcast. Okay.
You're like, oh, that's what we're calling Danielle with now.
Yeah.
The Dancing with the Stars podcast.
I was like, oops. And I will say, nobody ever said to me, please don't do the podcast. They did not at all, but they did want me to change the name. They said, With the Stars is something that feels very official and is something that, and so we were like, great. I was not in any way trying to step on anybody's toes. Like I said, had I known and they had been like, hey, we're going to ask you to not do that because, you know, that would have been their prerogative.
For sure.
But they didn't.
Yep.
So to their credit, they allowed me to do it, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I don't know that they love it.
Yeah, but that's
They've
okay
allowed
because
it.
we love it and we loved watching you on this show so much. Last week, we were so upset to see you eliminated. We talked about it at length on our show. Yes. We talked about it with you. We were rooting for you so hard and you opened up so much about your breast cancer journey and you opened up on your podcast about how you felt like last week they didn't show some of your story.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I want to hear more about that because that to me is just it's upsetting because we were rooting for you. We were rooting to see your story. I mean, it's so amazing. Like as a woman, seeing you overcome this is so inspiring. So I wanted to hear more about that.
Yeah. So thankfully, I had that interview with Louis Van Amstel, and he you know how sometimes you just talk to people and you feel very connected to them and like this is a safe space to open up. It had been a rough week, and he was just one of those people who, like, I felt like even through the Zoom screen I was like in a therapist's office for a minute, and I felt like when he was asking how it was going, it was a real question. It wasn't just like patter for a podcast. And I opened up with him about what the dance was about, and like, oh, there are so many things to say about this topic, but like you do not know, especially when you have zero dance experience, you don't know what dances you're going to love or which dances you're going to be good at or what dances are going to strike a chord with you. Like you have no clue. And you kind of have to plan your entire season out from week one, because you know the theme weeks, you know what's coming, and you have had to give all the songs, and you're working with the music department to get clearance. And so you have an idea, and like not every song can go with every dance. So if you're like, ooh, this theme week, I really like this song, you're like, great, then that means you're doing a cha-cha. And if that clears, then you're doing this. And if that doesn't clear, then we could do this here. So by the time it came around to the contemporary, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this. It's not like you can just go, great, let's not do contemporary. Let's do something else. And so knowing we had a contemporary that week, and Pasha saying like, we got this song, which we had to work really hard to clear. We love that song. And it was like, okay, you have the song, and it did have a personal connection to me. Sometimes with the theme weeks, they're like, tell us why you love it. And you're like, okay. Because you're telling me it's a theme.
Because it is my song, and because of that, I love it.
But when you get a song that you love and you're like, oh, I love it, and it works for the theme, great. Yeah. So we worked really hard to get that song. And then he's like, but contemporary is always about something. And a lot of people do contemporaries for dedication week. My dedication week was for Bill Daniels. I didn't want to do my biggest fear of doing some sappy, sad song was like, the man's right here. Yeah. Like I'm celebrating a man who's in front of us, who has like this incredible legacy. I don't want it to feel sad in any way. It's a celebration of this person. With that said, doing a jive on a dedication night when everyone else is pulling at heartstrings, could go one way. That's going to feel like a standout. That's going to be really fun, and people are going to love it. Or the other hand, people are like, what the hell was that? Why is she hopping around when I'm crying at everyone else? Like, these are things you have no.
We still cried. Look, I still, no matter what, even though it was fun, I still cried
at the theme song. The theme song,
and everybody was
nostalgic.
There. Yeah, but no, that is very true. And now I think that conversation has become even such a big topic with the fans, because I have watched this show like since from the beginning, my whole life. And so never was I looking to see what dance and what song people were dancing to days before Monday. Like I was never like, oh my God, what are they doing? This is going to mean so much. It's so telling. Now it's like a full-blown press release gets everybody, and it's reposted everywhere, and everyone's nitpicking and the whole thing. And it's like, when I saw we had Andy doing I'm like, oh my, he knows exactly what he's doing with this. Pull at the heartstrings. God only knows, the Beach Boys, the whole thing.
Well, Emma is starting a marketing company after the and
she is good.
A
genius.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But so the contemporary, like the story, on the one hand, you'll see people say like, a dance should speak for itself. I shouldn't need the description of it, which is true, but unless you're getting a package before it anyway.
Yep.
If in the package somebody says, this is about my breast cancer journey, and then you watch the dance, you go, well, this is about her breast cancer journey. It had nothing to do with my breast cancer journey. The only thing breast cancer had to do with it was that breast cancer last year really showed me, even though that wasn't a terminal illness for me, what if it was? Mm-hmm. And like, life is short. I need to be filling my time with things that then when I find out it's my time, I can look back and be like, I'm so glad I spent my time doing this, this, and this, instead of what I felt last year, which is like, I have been spending my time doing the most BS stuff. And like my day-to-day is filled with menial tasks. So it was one snippet of it. Be like, you never know when your time is up. But the story was actually very much about outside noise, societal noise, internet noise even just from other women, from ourselves that we place on ourselves, about never feeling like we're good enough or being too much. I'm either extra or I'm somehow failing. And sometimes you feel that way at the same time. Oh, my appearance is extra and I'm also not living up to my expectations at home or family or whatever. And it really just struck a chord with me. And when I was listening to the song and Pasha was telling me what's the story of the dance, I wrote him this long text about what it was about. And so all of the choreography was literally directly about that. At the start of the dance, I'm plagued by this outside noise, which also the original shot was supposed to be only me. You don't see him. You would just see his hand hit my throat. It stops me in my tracks. And I, at first, am fighting it. I'm pushing against it. I'm actively fighting it until I try to run away from it. And then I stop running. I realize it's going to be beside me all the time. I learn to embrace it. And then I rise above it at the end of the dance. And the end was supposed to have this like hopeful, determined face that like life is going to continue on and there's nothing we can do about that. That's the story of the dance. It's all very clear in the dance, but not one word of that made it into the package. We don't know who makes the packages. We know the producers who are there recording our stuff, but there are people somewhere editing somewhere, and we don't know who they are. We don't get to see them. They're not people we get to talk to. So I don't know where the decision was made that we weren't going to include any of that, or why, or to then say, let's just make it about cancer because she mentioned that once. Like, let's just keep going back to this.
Right.
And it could have been, truthfully, that they thought they were sparing me. Maybe giving just benefit of the doubt, because I always like to assume the best rather than assume the worst. Assuming the best, let's say they were worried it was going to feel as though I was making commentary on the judges, that outside noise was about them, and that they thought, what if the audience thinks she's being passive aggressive about the judges and we want to protect her from that, but we could use her cancer story as an angle and that might make people sympathetic to her. And so it's possible they did it to protect me, but it's still, for me, it was just frustrating also because then right before I danced, I was listening to my package realizing like, wait, what? What's going on? Why did I hear the word cancer three times?
And that's the first time you guys hear the packages right before you dance.
Correct. Right. And that's why a lot of us plug our ears. That's why a lot of us, distract ourselves in some other way, because you never know what they're going to say.
Yeah. And something can get into your head right away, right before you get on that stage, which is the last thing you want. Well, I think that message as a whole is really so important. Like, I resonate with that so much, hearing you talk about you're too much, you're too little. People say, oh, she's, oh, they're full of themselves. Oh, they don't care about themselves. Like,
they're not confident.
Yeah, right. Like, and then when you are confident, oh, they're full of themselves. It's always a push and pull. So that really is such a strong message that women deal with every single day, and would have been really nice to hear somebody talk about on television like that so openly. But we're happy that you're talking about it, talked about it on your podcast, talked about it here with us, because it is important for people to hear that we all struggle with that as women. It's just something that it feels like we can conquer it, but at the same time, it's never going to go away. So we kind of, like your dance, like we kind of just have to go through life with it. And that would have been really amazing to see on TV, but at least we get to talk about it now. And like you said, like, the editors, they're probably they're editing everyone's package. They hear like the word cancer. They go, oh, that sticks out because it's such a big word, right? It's people just hear that and immediately. So they're like, oh, boom, there you go. When there's so much more meaning there.
I also am just probably not super cut out for reality TV, because one of my biggest fears, if you want to call it that, going into the show was like, I do not want people to think I'm using my cancer experience to gain sympathy votes. Right. It's why, like, in my first episode, I mentioned it. It was the reason I said yes to the show. It's why, I picked my anthem song. It tied in, but it was like, I'm going to talk about this in the first episode and I'm not going to keep going back to it because I really push against people thinking I'm quote unquote using something to gain votes.
Right.
In hindsight, I don't know that people would have felt like it's using it to gain votes. I also, when I snapped my hamstring tendon, I also refused to talk about that.
You barely acknowledged
it. You barely acknowledged it.
I didn't. I did not. I refused.
When they showed the 3 seconds of what the back of your leg looked like, and then the camera cut away, I had to like rewind the TV. I was like, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
It was. And that was pretty early on that you were dealing with that.
That was during week 2 with my cha-cha, and
your entire leg was black and blue.
My entire leg was black and blue. It worked its way down because of gravity and all the dancing. So like all the blood just kept working its way down my leg. My thigh was literally twice the size of my other thigh. And I could not feel my kneecap. So I was so nervous because like the most important thing in a cha-cha is like your straight legs. Yeah. And I was like, can't feel if my knee is straight. Don't know. It's just floating around in some fluid. Yeah. I hope it's straight. I think it is, but can't tell. And yeah, Pasha and I both were like, nope, not going to make a deal of it. And to their credit, the producers probably knowing more than I did, were like, Danielle, you should really talk about this. And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to talk about it. Don't want sympathy votes.
It goes back to the reality TV thing because once again, they are making a show and the formula of the show has very much been you introduce the stars to the world and it's a lighthearted beginning, but then it kind of travels and everyone gets to tell their story and normally it's some sort of sob story that they tell and how they overcame it and then but that's the arc that they try and do for everybody. So when you push back on that, I'm sure it's a little bit like, well, this is kind of how we always do it and I think it'll work for you. And I want to go back to what you said about maybe they were trying to protect you from if it was criticism about the judges and all these things. Definitely the internet, and I think the judges have felt it as well, which has certainly affected the way they judge how vocal fans now are about the judging and their feedback or not lack of feedback. And if certain people get feedback and certain people don't, everyone loves now. And I feel like it has really affected how they speak to you guys after a dance. And I know that there was kind of a thing with Carrie Ann and that sort of blew up a little bit. So how did you kind of feel about dealing with the judges' feedback and even specifically, what happened with Carrie Ann?
I maintained through the whole time, and I still maintain to this day, I want feedback. I want you.
It makes you better.
Yes.
And you're dancing.
Even if I say, I'm not going to listen to that feedback.
Yeah.
The fact that you gave it to me already says to me, I believe in you. I think you're capable of the thing I'm telling you. And if I'm a good judge, which they are, I'm going to pay attention next week to see if you did the thing I told you to do. If you don't give me feedback, I'm going to assume you're thinking, good job, sweetie.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want that.
Yeah.
With that said, the judges have a lot of power with the way the audience then feels about a dance, whether they mean to or whether they recognize it or not, both the audience and the judges. The audience may not realize they have been influenced by hearing 3 judges say, wow, you just did the darn thing.
Yeah.
Next person, you are America's sweetheart. Next judge, what can I say? Yeah. That was beautiful. And then for the next person, great dance. I didn't see your fingertips with. And even if you get a higher score than the person with all the positive feedback, the audience has just seen nothing but nice things about this person and now criticism about this person. And the audience then goes, I didn't see pointed
a lot of it is
fingertips.
subconscious,
and a
like
lot
they're
of
just
times,
hearing it.
A lot of times like it's like, you did great, America's sweetheart, that was beautiful. sevens. And you're like, okay, fine. And then the next person who dances gets a little feedback, gets an 8. And you're like, well, what's, if I'm getting a lower score, shouldn't I be getting some sort of feedback to try and get better?
Right.
And I think it's become a very hard balance for them. And I am intrigued to see how they continue on with it moving forward, because I know that they really, they can get ridiculed as well for what they say. And it feels like it's affected their judging more so than ever. But with Carrie Ann, like that all just kind of, like, did you think about it more than what you said? Because you kind of were like, thank you for giving me some feedback.
Yes, always. I mean, I don't know which particular comment you're talking about. I know she apologized to me on the show.
It felt like the internet blew that out of proportion, because I thought
That's
that
kind of what I'm talking
your
about.
package comment was like cheeky. Like you
It
were like, 'cause
was.
she was like, you're so small, like be big, or like what, right? Was
Yeah,
this
she
sort
said
of the
you're a
comment?
tiny, I think she said you're a tiny woman, but when you let out that power. So yeah, I was just like, I may be tiny on the outside, but I'm big on the inside.
Yeah, it was very cheeky.
Yeah.
Like
Very cheeky, very cute, very like I'm a tiny woman.
Yeah.
I'm 5'1", I'm 115
Yeah.
pounds, I'm a tiny woman.
Yeah.
So it did not,
For sure.
it did
Because
not.
it seemed more serious when all of a sudden she was like, I'm so sorry for making comments about your body. And I was like, what did she say about her body?
No. And I think the only thing that happened is that I think a lot of people on the internet made what I thought was also a very funny, cheeky comment, which is, I guess work on being taller next week.
Right.
Like people who were taking umbrage with what she
so
had
you're
said.
calling me cute and small.
Right, exactly. And so I think people were like, yeah, Danielle, so just be taller. And I think then she was like, oh no, I hope Danielle doesn't feel like I was saying her height is a problem.
Yeah.
So she she apologized. But then that even then made me, I was like, but I have never said that it offended me or that my feelings are hurt. And it's a little, sometimes it can be hard when somebody's like, well, I'm apologizing for hurting your feelings. I was like, but
I'm good.
I didn't have to.
And just because you had a cheeky comment doesn't mean that your feelings were hurt. You were just playing off the banter.
Correct.
That's how I took it as.
But
like,
at
ties
least,
into the package.
I at least appreciate anyone who can be on a national stage and say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
If nothing else, even though I didn't need it, she didn't need to give it. Anytime somebody's willing to say, I may have stepped out of line, I may have hurt your feelings, I'm sorry, more like, thank you. We need more of that. We need more people willing to just say like, was I wrong? If so, sorry.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Definitely.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah. On Tuesday night's show, we heard Alex say that it's just been such a fun experience for her and the cast. Everyone is so supportive and she feels very close to everybody. Did you feel that as a member of the show? Like, how did you get along with the other stars? Because it is a competition, but at the same time, you want to support each other. So how was that journey for you with the other stars?
I really, before I went into it, was like, I'm a competitive person. And I think maybe when I was younger, I was more competitive. Like, I used to, even just for sports teams I rooted for, like if they lost, it felt like I had lost something, And then I think as I've gotten older and I've just become extremely empathetic and like a big old softie, maybe having children, I don't know exactly what did it, but I think my competitiveness has gone down a little bit. I still like to do well and I like to put my best foot forward, but I went into the show thinking like, it's going to be hard to even like these people because I'm going to want to beat them.
I'm going to wipe the floor with them.
No, you just walk in, you meet everybody. And of course, like before you start dancing, you are trying to get reads on everybody. Like who seems cold? Who seems the most friendly? Who seems possibly manipulative? So you're like trying to get a read on everybody. And then next thing you know, you're sequestered into your room and you realize, oh my gosh, this schedule is insane. I can't believe how hard I'm working. And then you like knock on somebody else's door and you look in there and they're sweating and they're like, how's it going? You're like, man, we're all really working super hard. And then you do your first show and tell and everybody's so nervous. And there's 4 of you in a room and they put the music on and you watch what they've been working on and you haven't thought about them or their dance basically at all. You've just been so involved in yours and you watched them and you go, wow, I can't believe you did that. And the next thing you know, you are just bleeding for every one of these people and wanting them to succeed and to do the best they could possibly do. And like, any little piece of advice I have, if I had done the dance before, or if I hadn't done the dance, be like, you know what really helped me? Or are you doing this? Have you learned to count? Because learning to count changed everything for me. Like knowing how to count the beats and what step I'm supposed to be doing on what count was everything. And so it was like one of the things I shared with Dylan was like, you have to count. He's like, I can't count. And I was like, okay, but it's really helpful. He's like, no, I just can't. I can't count. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Okay, good luck.
By the way, he's doing just fine not counting.
Yeah.
He's doing just fine. But you know, it's like I have become so close. And even people that were voted, I mean, Barron and I still talk regularly.
Yeah.
He still checks in with me. Hilaria checked in with me this morning. I still regularly talk to everyone. Alex texted me the day after I, was voted off, after we saw each other on the dance floor. She texted me like this very sweet thing about getting together for lunch. And I was like, does Alex Earl really want to hang out with me? But like, okay.
Yeah.
I will. I have time. You just let me know when. I've loved every minute of it.
And it really does feel like such a big family too, when so many of the pros are literally family, and you experience that as well. There are a couple married couples on this on the cast, and you had one of them as your partner. What was your relationship like with Pasha, and then also getting to kind of experience his relationship and her partner?
Yeah. That little alliance we had was very special, is one of the things I will take with me from this experience for the rest of my life. Pasha and I could not be more similar. Even my husband's like, you guys are the same person. We really are, down to weird details. We both have this terrible vein that pops through our forehead when we smile. We're both absolute perfectionists. And when we first met and started talking about that, he was like, okay, well, I'm the biggest perfectionist I've ever met. And then he was like, okay, you are a perfectionist. I thought we really are just very much the same person, even from the standpoint of like wanting to avoid anything that felt like a sympathy vote or talking to, like, we were just always on the same page. One area where we are different is I can be more like easily flustered about something, and I'm mostly keeping it together. But there was the week of the dedication week, the week of the jive. He decided to change like 8 counts of the choreo on like Sunday, and Monday's camera blocking day. And I was like, why are we doing this? And he was like, I watched it on video last night. I don't like it. It's not going to be good. I think the judges are going to be harsh about it. I want to change it. And it was like muscle memory locked in for me.
Yeah.
And we then spent the entire 4 hours, which normally would have been 4 hours of just perfecting and fine tuning the entire dance. We spent like 4 hours getting those counts out of my brain and locking them in and doing them well. And I was just so frustrated. I mean, there were multiple times I just like screamed at the top of my lungs, like,
very fair.
And like, I'm so frustrated. And never once does he get ruffled. Never does he show up and you're like, uh-oh, he had a bad day or he had a bad night. Nothing. He's the most consistent, shows up, ready to work, smile on his face, hardworking, just like consistent person. Danny calls him Buddha, and he is. He's basically like Buddha.
Yeah.
And then having Danny as like a secret weapon, like when we did our Argentine tango, and we had to learn all those tricks. And both Pasha was like, I don't know how to tell you how to do these because I've never been the woman doing them. And like, I don't know. And he's like, so let's bring Danny in here. So Danny came in at like 9 p.m. when we were supposed to be wrapping up. And she was like, I've never had to teach a woman how to do these. So I also don't know how to express exactly what I'm doing when I do these. So then she'd just like do it. And then she's like, okay, what did I just do? All right. So I put this leg down and I flung this leg in the air. And then we were just practicing and just, hurting ourselves all the time, but getting it done. But like having one of them is like having both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are both incredible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Daniela is just magic to watch. Like,
I'm not even sure she's human.
no. Like it is so, I can't even find a word for it. Like I thought
know.
captivating, magic, all these things do not describe
No.
that woman as a dancer.
No.
Seeing it in real life, I can't comprehend how she moves her body that fast.
I can't
when
either.
her and Derek danced together in that opening number for the 20th anniversary, I can't comprehend how they do it.
No.
The talent is insane. And then the fact that they're married. And I'm just like, oh my, and they're so cute. Right? Like they just like
so
match
cute.
each other so well. They're just so cute.
So cute. Such a great family. Their daughter is the greatest kid ever. Like I'm completely obsessed with her. I love their family so much. And right away we just knew that like this is a forever friendship.
And you guys would hang out after the show with Dylan and his girlfriend as well. I loved hearing about that. Like, I was like, oh, we're not going to be able to hear about their hangouts anymore. Eating dinner, going out to dinner.
I know. Last night was fun because we had the party after, so we got to hang out a little bit at the party, and it was very cute because where we were sitting last night is right by the area where they do the bumpers, like, you know, where we're looking at the camera like coming up next. So Dylan was right there right before his dance, and he poured water on the floor to, you know, one of the ways we make our shoes grippy is if you just wet them a little bit, it grips on the ballroom floor more. So he poured water on the floor right next to me, and we were able to like give each other, I was able to give him a little pep talk before he went out there. And then when we went to the party last night, he was like, are you going to come next week? Could you have those seats next week? Because being able to talk to you right before I went on the dance floor really calmed me. And I was like,
so sweet.
Oh my God, I was not planning on going to Prince Week, but now I feel like I have to. And like, if it helps you, how do I not go?
Oh, that is so sweet. So is it safe to say you are rooting for Dylan? I wanted to ask, you know, obviously you could say you're rooting for everybody, but is there somebody you're especially pulling for?
I mean, it is hard for me to say because I have become close to everybody. But yeah, I mean, Dylan, truly, Good Morning America Day, where we just made a funny TikTok about being in an alliance. Little did we know we were going to take it very seriously. And Dylan is the person that, like, when it came time to even picking the teams, Dylan and I having won Traders and him being like, people don't think there's strategy for Dancing with the Stars. There should be.
Yeah.
We need to talk
He's
about
like, my
teams.
brain is permanently changed after Traders.
I mean, truly. And then when I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't even really thought about it, but okay, you're right. It was like, well, who does get to be a team captain? It was like, okay, we did the math. It was like, well, Andy's definitely a team captain because even if Andy got 4 10s plus the Monster-thon points, even having 45 points was never going to bring him up to not being the lowest scored. So it was like, he's definitely a team captain. So there's one other team captain. And it was like, who's the next lowest scored? Well, that was Jen. Well, Jen and I were only apart by 2 points. Well, 2 points is easy to make up. One, there was a Monster-thon that week, which was 5 points. So if Jen won the Monster-thon or if I won the Monster-thon, that could have, or if Jen scored better than I did that week and she had a contemporary and Jan was doing the contemporary, it was like, there are a million ways where I could end up being the next lowest scored, which would make me a team captain. And so it was like, Dylan's like, well, obviously everybody's going to expect us to be on the same team, but like, let's do a spreadsheet. So he fully did a spreadsheet like, okay, if this person goes home, what if this person goes home? So then who are all the people left and what are the...
Who would be your first pick? Who do we think Andy would take first?
That's exactly, because then I didn't know who goes first. Like, how do they decide? Is it because you're the lowest, you get to go first? Or is it because you're the lowest, second lowest, you get to go first? But it was like, let's assume
Dylan's
Andy gets to go
trapped
first.
in reality TV show brain.
I mean...
And you said that you don't think you're cut out for reality TV, but would you do Traders?
I mean...
Because you would be so good.
I don't think I would. I can't lie.
But it would be fun.
I would have to be, I'd have to not be a trader.
Yes, that's fair.
If I were a trader, I'd be like, this is really hard. I don't think I could do it. So I don't know. Maybe
you would be a great faithful though. So maybe that would be the
because that's the thing is that I do love physical challenges. Like I want to work I want to work on a team and I want to do like something physical. That's one of the things I loved. But yeah, I mean, I'm very clearly rooting for Dylan and Danny. I love his journey. I think his story is amazing. I also am very close with Robert. And I love Robert. Robert and I are
such a sweet kid.
God.
I like
so
Brie
happy.
and I actually shed a tear. We cried multiple times in the ballroom
I'm
last
so
on Tuesday.
glad it's not just me.
Oh my, no,
It's every week.
It's every week.
I have a
the
headache
littlest
after every
things.
show.
Even like the mention of Len, I started to tear up, like the whole
I
thing.
know.
And then, so of course that was a big thing. But then, Robert with his dance, and then the two of us just looking. When we go, we love watching the pairings right before they dance. When the package is playing and they're locked into each other, because normally it is the pro talking to the star, like, let's do this, that, the pump up. We see it is so sweet. Tuesday night, we're looking at Robert. He's got his arms on Whitney, and he's like, the one being like, let's go. Like, and Whitney's like nodding her head, and like, it's all, and I'm like, this kid.
I know.
And we started tearing up again. We're like, oh my God.
He has
he's
so
just,
much charisma.
I know.
He's so charismatic. He's so energetic. He's so happy and lively. Like, it's so hard to not root for him. We're also majorly rooting for Alex Earl.
I know.
I think that she is so good.
She's
I feel
a beautiful
like
dancer.
so and
Everyone
Elaine.
is.
Oh my God,
Whitney's such a
Elaine
beautiful
too.
dancer.
Jordan.
Whitney too, I
See,
know.
now we go down the list
Yeah,
because
I
I
know.
have like
it really is such a stacked, maybe most ever, and I know everyone keeps saying that, but
it's so hard. It's like you get so attached to the dancer and the star when they're dancing, and then you move on to the next one. You get attached to them. Like, as the show goes on, you're just you can't decide. Even between the relay with Robert and Alex,
I know.
we were going back and forth.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, who do you think? Wait, that was such a toss up. And then when Robert got it, we were like, wait, Alex and Joey should have gotten it. But then if Alex and Joey got it, we would have been like, wait, Robert and Sochi should have got it. Like, it's so hard.
I know. It was interesting too that was the only male-female pairing.
Yeah.
And that Carrie Ann commented, it's really hard to compare, because then I walked away going, but isn't that the whole show?
yeah.
Half the men are competing and half the women are competing.
Right.
And every week you have to decide who gets the better score.
Yeah.
And,
There's not in different leagues.
which is why people say she judges the men and the women differently. Yeah, I whisper that. I hear you, but you know what? I would like to say,
She addressed that today, I will say.
did she?
I saw a quote. She said that maybe it's because she is a woman.
Yeah.
And she knows what she's capable of, or what we are capable of. And maybe that's why she didn't deny that.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
To help out your
No, but I know, but it is such a, like, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about Pasha and Daniela. Like, they can only help in what they know. And he's like, I've never taught the female part of, I've never to do the female part of this dance. And I think she kind of like has that a little bit of like,
Right. Because
I know
watching
how
Jordan
to critique.
get a 9, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Why did Jordan get a 9 there? And no offense to Dylan, because we love Dylan.
Yeah.
And we think he's such a sweetheart. I'm like, Dylan got a 10, Jordan got a 9. Why? Jordan's dance was so fun. It was so good.
Yeah.
And you just
One thing I think is important for us to keep in mind is even just the idea of ballroom dancing is about showing off the woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
The men are supposed to be the frame
they're supposed
to
to
the
lead.
woman's
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
So by virtue of the actual sport,
Yeah.
women have to do more
Yeah.
and be shinier than the men.
For sure.
What I think then would be fair is to take that into consideration and to say, even if it's just about with your feedback, to say to someone, what you had to do in that dance was through the roof. And maybe there were some moments where it wasn't as crisp as I would have wanted, or there wasn't as much texture as I would have liked to have seen. But the fact that you were able to do all of it anyway, or as well as you did, means I'm going to give you maybe a higher score than for a dance that isn't as technically involved for the person doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but then how do you do that every week? It's like if
Yeah,
every
yeah.
week, or is the man going to be scored a little lower because it's not quite as hard, or do you?
It's and especially I think you saw that, like, I think the Argentine tango is one that really shows that.
Correct.
Because the woman is doing so much, literally dancing circles around their partner.
I mean, Whitney was incredible.
And so that's what I'm
Unbelievable.
saying,
So
right?
good.
It's like you watch, and they both did, they both got perfect scores, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like Dylan has to do his job so well of being that strong lead and being able to throw her in the air and be like that base. And then Whitney has to be the one that does all the tricks and flips and flicks and all, and everything. So
and at the end of the
so
day,
dependent on the dance.
Yeah, that is the show, and we just have to accept it. And now we're just thinking so much more logistically into it all. I think it's funny that you said that the picture is the woman in the ballroom. Meanwhile, Joey was trying to freaking flips last night and knocking Alex around the face. I'm like, Joey, it's not your time.
What are
and we
you
love
doing?
Joey. We are friends with Joey. I'm like,
Love
Joey is friggin' flipping in the air, knocking Alex in the face. He's literally got his, he's teabagging her in the middle of the show. It's like,
Alex
what the hell?
Alex called it pooch. She said pooch to the face.
It literally
Which
like
is cracking
I'm like,
me
all
up.
right, Joey, we get it. You won the show last year. I saw people being like, Joey thought that dance was about him. Which
what I
is
think
funny.
is-
We could joke about because Joey is fantastic and he's just so excited. Like
Well,
he's so
and also,
excited to be
Most
there.
recent winner. Too.
I think everyone is coming into that with the best of intentions of going, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Because these points, my performance is going to impact you. And I
absolutely.
want you to get these
And
2
you want-
points.
yeah.
What can I bring to the table? And he's like, I can flip.
Yeah,
I can flip.
I
Do you
can
want to see me
flip
flip?
right in front
Do you
of
wanna
your
see me
face.
flip? I can flip. So, I mean,
Yeah, no, I
was
loved
so
it though.
funny.
They are so fun. Like,
So
wow, and we
cute.
love Joey and Kelsey. So just watching that cracked me up. I was like, oh my god, he's beating Alex up, and Val's like, did he hit you? Like, and she's in the mirror checking her nose, which is so relatable. You're like, do not mess up.
No, she's
that
literally like,
perfect
this
nose.
is
Don't do
the
it.
mo-
don't
like,
break
yeah.
the
Hello.
money maker.
Yeah, hello.
But she's
Can't make
so
TikToks like that.
willing to literally throw herself
Amazing, yeah.
throw herself into it. Seeing her do that, try to do that double cartwheel with Val, and she's just like landing on the floor. Like, it's to me one of the most impressive things is that you could see a picture of Alex, and you would then make a bunch of assumptions about what that person must be like, and then you actually see how hard she's working and what she's willing to put herself through, and you're like, yes, yes, get in there and get dirty.
Yeah.
Love it.
Absolutely. Is there somebody that is there a past mirror ball that you would have mirror ball winner that you would have loved to dance with?
Oh,
did you have?
man. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, Gio Marini won, right?
I think so.
I think he won. He was a
I
winner.
think so.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Did I say his name right?
I
He was there last
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah.
idea.
He was there last night. That was we're going way back.
That's a
We're
long
going
time.
way back.
I'm aging myself.
Yeah.
I'm an old lady. I don't know if you know this.
we're going way back. No, but no, that's super fair.
I think he would have been fun. Also, Rashad Jennings.
yeah.
He's
great.
He was really great. He had a super fun personality. He came over to me. We went to the holiday show. Taping, and he was there. And he came over to me and he was like, "I have to tell you that I had a really big crush on you and J-Lo." And I was like, I love this company. Thank you. And he said, now I can say I've met you both. And I was
That's
like,
amazing.
Listen.
What's that like for you? Because you get that all the time where people are just like, I had the biggest crush on you. I still have the biggest crush on you.
Cute.
Like, is that what you're like? Oh, you're so cute.
It is. It's cute. It's sweet. There's a little bit of a separation because I think I've always felt like, well, you had a crush on Topanga, and kind of like how we're talking about the audience gets things and they don't even know it's happening. Even though when you think of a crush, you think, well, you're the physical manifestation of the crush, but like also the character was something that made you love her. And even though I think I'm very much like Topanga, we are, there is a little bit of a separation. So it doesn't ever feel to me like, ooh, weird.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to bring that to life for anyone who felt that way.
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's flattering.
Yes.
Yes.
No, nothing bad.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad thing to hear, oh, I had a crush on you.
No.
No.
Like,
no.
thank
it's
you.
like, thanks.
Yes, you should.
Exactly.
Very sweet.
Yeah. It's crazy. We somehow ran through that hour so fast. And we do have to do our last question, which is sponsored by Armani Beauty.
Yes.
Luminous Silk, what I'm wearing right now. My
Same.
favorite.
Us too.
Me too.
Us too.
What number are you?
Oh, good question.
That is, I think 6. something?
I'm like a 5.75 when I have a spray tan.
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah,
a
yeah.
I do
Five
too.
and a
I think I
half.
wear in my tanner shade like a 625.
625.
I
Okay.
think I'm a 625.
I'm extremely loyal to this concealer. Not gonna, I started using it like a little bit over a year ago. I have not changed since then.
I don't
Like,
use that. Wait, I need the
You
concealer.
need to use the concealer. The concealer is so good. I have not steered away from
I'm
using
talking
this
about the concealer. Yeah, yeah. Oh, but I think my foundation shade's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have not strayed away from this concealer. Like it's
All
so
right.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm very
it is
excited.
Great. It is great. You mentioned music as a
Mm-hmm.
big part of the show, and I think one thing that the internet freaked out about was the use of Sabrina Carpenter, because everyone was like, there are so many songs that they can't get clearance for, but we got Danielle out here dancing to Sabrina Carpenter. And what was that process like? And did you actually have to get Sabrina's approval for that dance?
Yes. So the minute I found out I was doing Dancing with the Stars, the first people I told were Sabrina, Ryder, and Will. And you're not supposed to tell anybody. You literally sign a piece of paper. It's like, I sign away my life. And then I was like, pick up the phone and
So you can't tell anyone.
yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Ryder and Will for sure needed to know, because it was like coming up with scheduling.
For sure.
I'm going to have to do whatever I can. You guys can you be flexible with me? And Sabrina, I had gone over to her house and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in a safe space here inside your house. I have something to tell you. And she was so excited. And I was like, so just fair warning, I don't know anything about anything yet, but there's no way I'm not going to dance to one of your songs. And so can we make that happen? She was like, yeah, just let me know. Just let me know. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, because the new album's coming out. I had already heard the new album. So I was like, okay, maybe I can, like, which song can I pick from the new album? And it was like, but the season starts like right after the new album. So it was like, will there be a single? Anyway, it was a
Did you
whole
get to tell
conversation.
the music department, like, don't worry, guys, I got this one?
I did. I said, I will. I've already texted her. Then we talked about it with the music department. And then there was I know what it was. They got it cleared for the band to do it, which I did not know. And then like a few days before TikTok night, they send us the band reference and Pasha goes, oh, we got the band reference. I'm like, we got the what? And he was like, yeah, the band's version of the song. And I was like, oh, I love the band.
Yeah.
The band's incredible.
Yeah.
But like, I want to dance to Sabrina. I want to dance.
I'll just
I just
call
wanna-
Sabrina up.
And so then I had to contact the music department, and they have to pay a lot more money for that.
Yeah.
And they at first were like, we don't have the budget. And I was like, okay, cool. Then we just won't use the Sabrina video. And then they were like, okay, well, maybe if you want to text her and see. And so I was like, hi, a new one coming through. And then like within 2 hours, it was cleared.
Oh, that is amazing.
Love it.
So cute. Love the whole story. Love
love
that
it.
you threw in there that you heard the album before it came out.
Yes, I did. When the only way I'm ever able to do that is if I'm physically in front of her.
Yeah.
Because
Well, of course.
can't
You
send
can't. No,
anything anywhere. So it's
Cannot
And
rest.
Sabrina went to she went to the Taylor Swift School of Music as well. So she, you got to keep things on lockdown.
honestly so smart.
Yeah.
So smart, so cute. Danielle, thank you so much for coming here and talking to us. We are so happy that we got to chat with you. Feel like we can talk to you for hours.
Seriously.
And although we were rooting for you on the show, we'll be rooting for you in everything else that you do.
Thank you.
I am, even though you probably don't even want to be on it, I want you to be on Traitors.
You're so cute. Thank you.
You know who's not going to want her to go on Traders? Her children.
Yeah, right. Oh
Exactly.
my God, no! Don't don't
three-
tell them I said that. I don't need them coming for me. Please.
My child would be like, Ria's dead.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know.
I'm like,
She's
like,
next.
what?
She's next.
It's just to be like Barstool Podcaster Dad. No, I'm not even gonna get a name.
She's next. Oh my God.
That's
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
Thank you,
Danielle.
Thank
Danielle.
you.